All right, let's dive in. Today, we're looking at four massive forces that are basically redrawing the map of our world: AI, climate change, digital sovereignty, and this thing called hybrid warfare. Now, the key here is that these aren't four separate problems. No, they're all tangled up together, creating this incredibly complex new reality that changes everything we thought we knew about how the world works. So, to really wrap our heads around this, let me ask you a question. What on earth could possibly connect a supercomputer running a climate model, a high stakes peace negotiation, and a nuclear missile sitting in its silo? I know, it sounds like the setup for a really weird joke, right? But the answer is the absolute core of what we're talking about today. It shows how these powerful new forces are colliding in ways nobody saw coming. So, the big idea is this: all those nice, clean lines we used to draw are getting incredibly blurry. The line between war and peace, between economics and national security, even between being a soldier and a civilian. All those old boundaries are smudging together. We're basically looking at a brand new map. And the old rulebook, well, it doesn't really apply anymore. And this table really breaks it down. Look at AI. It's not just tech, it's a weapon, a huge economic driver, and a diplomatic bargaining chip all at once. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue anymore. When people are fighting over water or being forced from their homes, that's a security threat, plain and simple. Digital sovereignty, what even is a border when data can cross the planet in an instant? And hybrid warfare? That just completely muddies the water, making it almost impossible to know if you're even at war. Each one of these completely forces us to rethink how the world works. Okay, so let's try to untangle this web, starting in the digital world. Because that's become a whole new kind of battlefield, one where these strange shadow wars are being fought across invisible digital borders. Right at the heart of this is this concept of digital sovereignty. For centuries, being a sovereign nation meant you controlled your physical land. Simple. But now, countries are trying to do the same thing with data. Think of the internet as this massive open ocean. Digital sovereignty is like a country trying to rope off its own little patch, setting its own rules for who sails through and what they can carry, even though the water connects to everywhere else. It's a fundamental challenge to the whole idea of a borderless web. And that tension, that's the perfect breeding ground for hybrid warfare. Seriously, forget tanks and soldiers. Think more about a messy, chaotic blend of cyber attacks on a power grid, disinformation campaigns on social media funded by another country, and economic pressure. All of it designed to win without ever firing a traditional shot. It blurs the lines so much you might not even realize you're under attack. Now, this is where it really gets interesting. This is where those two ideas, digital sovereignty and hybrid warfare, smash right into each other. The fight to control data and digital platforms, that becomes the battlefield. You wage information wars on social media. You attack a nation's most critical digital systems. And digital surveillance becomes your #1 tool for both offense and defense. They're two sides of the same coin. But that digital battlefield is really just one piece of this puzzle. Let's really raise the stakes now and talk about the biggest technological shift of our lifetime: artificial intelligence, and what it means for global power, and maybe even for our very survival. So here is the absolute most important point. AI is not just a faster computer. It's not an upgrade. When we're talking about the most dangerous weapons ever created, AI is a complete game changer. The entire logic of nuclear deterrence, the fragile peace that has held for over 70 years, is being totally rewritten by code. Just look at this comparison. It's frankly terrifying. During the Cold War, you had minutes, sometimes hours, for humans to think, to get on that red phone, to pull back from the brink. With AI plugged into the system, that decision timeline shrinks to milliseconds. Milliseconds! The time you have for crisis management just vanishes. It's gone. For military planners, this flips the script from mutually assured destruction to a terrifying new logic of first strike survival, where the only way to win is to shoot first. And that leads us to the so-called black box problem. As Kissinger and others warned, we are building systems that can achieve goals using a kind of logic that we just don't understand. Think about that for a second. In a situation where one mistake is irreversible, we're thinking about handing the keys over to a machine whose reasoning is totally alien to us. But the impact of AI goes way beyond just the military. It's creating a whole new kind of global inequality, a computational divide, that is completely tilting the playing field of diplomacy itself. Just imagine a complex climate negotiation. In the old days, it was a battle of human wits, of expertise. But now, a country with a superior AI can run millions of simulations. It can model the economic impact of a carbon tax, predict the political moves of its opponents, and basically see 5 steps ahead. It's like one side showing up to play chess, while the other side has a supercomputer that has already calculated every possible outcome. The game is rigged from the start. Okay, so I know that all sounds incredibly bleak, but this story has another side. The exact same technology that is creating these huge risks also has an incredible potential to be used for peace. It really is the ultimate double-edged sword. Because these risks are so immense, you're hearing a lot of calls for a more balanced approach. We simply cannot afford to only see AI as a weapon. We have to be just as intentional, just as focused on exploring its potential to promote peace and actually build a more stable world. And you can see that duality, that tension right here. On the one hand, yeah, you've got the terrifying idea of lethal autonomous weapons, killer robots, and the power of AI to supercharge disinformation. On the other hand, you have AI-powered drones delivering life-saving humanitarian aid. You have AI scanning satellite images to monitor for human rights abuses. You have AI tools giving more people a real voice in their society. And hey, this isn't just a theory. It's happening right now. In the unbelievably complex conflict in Yemen, the UN is actually using AI tools to analyze the dialogue from peace talks. This tech helps mediators sift through mountains of information to find the little threads of common ground, potential breakthroughs that a human being might just completely miss. It's a powerful, real-world example of AI being used to build peace. So we're left with these two potential futures, one of instability and risk, and one of incredible opportunity. Which path we take, that really comes down to what might be the single greatest human challenge of our time. How do we choose to govern this unbelievably powerful technology? Well, a global race to figure that out is already happening, but it's fragmented. You have the European Union focused on strict risk-based rules. The United States is trying to balance safety with staying innovative. China is all in on strategic development to get ahead. And then you have organizations like UNESCO trying to create some universal ethical guidelines. Everyone is creating their own rulebook, and they're all competing. So what would a better path look like? Well, a lot of experts point to something they call algorithmic equity. That means doing things like mandatory safety checks on AI systems before they're used. It means actually transferring resources and knowledge to developing countries so they don't get left in the dust. It means demanding transparency so that if an AI makes a decision about you, you can understand why and challenge it. And yes, most urgently, it means we need a treaty to deal with the unique risks AI poses to nuclear weapons. So, we end up right back where we started. In this new world being defined by AI, climate, and conflict, the technology itself is not our destiny. The most important question we face isn't what can the code do? It's what will we, as human beings, choose to do with it? The future of that global map, that's on us.